Hello, learners! Today's story is called Fox and the Snowflake Christmas. This story was written by Julia Rawlinson, and the pictures were done by Tiffany Beek. Now, if we say that someone wrote the words, we call them the Put it together. If you didn't already know, it's the author. Now, this is a little bit trickier. It says pictures by. What do we call someone who does the pictures? I'm going to robot talk it. Ready? Illustrator. Add 4 parts. It's a 4-syllable word. Illustrator. Illustrator. Yeah, Tiffany Beek is the illustrator of this story. Here we go. Fox and the Snowflake Christmas. The very first picture for you. It was an ice bright Christmas Eve, and the sky was a dazzling blue. Every tree in the forest was frost sprinkled and sparkling, and frozen puddles creaked and cracked under Fletcher's paws. He patted down the burrow bank to where the rabbits used to live, and bounced over the fallen tree that blocked their old front door. He stopped, and he looked. And he had a terrible thought. Now that how was Santa Claus going to find the rabbit's new home? Fletcher shivered. A chilly wind sliced through the forest, rattling the bare branches. He thought about how sad he would feel if he had to move from his cozy den. He thought about how the rabbits would feel if Santa Claus did not come. And then he thought about arrows. Fletcher began to scratch around, collecting sticks from the frosty ground and arranging them to make a trail of arrows leading to the new burrow. "What are you doing?" asked Squirrel, looking down from the branches. "Making a trail to show Santa Claus the way to the rabbit's new burrow," said Fletcher. "Otherwise, they might not get their presents," gasped Squirrel, and he scampered down to help Fletcher collect more sticks. Soon a flock of birds gathered in the treetops, their feathers fluffed against the cold, to see what was going on. "We're making a trail to the rabbit's new burrow," said Fletcher. "For Santa Claus," added Squirrel. "We'll help you," chirped the birds. The trail passed through bare trees and crossed the tinkling, ice-edged stream. The sun began to set, turning the sky a dazzling gold. Fletcher and Squirrel shivered and hurried up the little hill to where the mice were draping their nests with leaves of holly and ivy. "What are you doing?" asked the mice. "We're making a trail," said Fletcher. "To the rabbit's new burrow," said Squirrel. "For Santa Claus," added the birds. "You'd better hurry," said the mice. "It's getting late. We'll help you." So Fletcher, Squirrel, the birds, and the mice finished the trail to the rabbit's new home, which was cozy and warm and sweet with the smell of blackberry pie. They gathered around the crackling fire, thawing out their icy noses, nibbling pieces of pie and singing Christmas songs. And while Squirrel put on a juggling show with holly berries and mistletoe, outside in the shivery darkness, it began to snow. Fat white flakes tumbled softly from a heavy sky. They landed light and whisper quiet on the frozen ground. When Fletcher went to the burrow door to go home for the night, the snow was soft and deep and white, and all the arrows were gone. "Oh no!" cried Fletcher, blinking back tears. "What will happen to your presents now? Santa Claus will never be able to find your home." Fletcher started out into the darkness, imagining Santa Claus lost in the snow. "I have an idea," Fletcher said, gathering his friends. "If we stay awake tonight, when Santa Claus visits our homes, we can tell him how to find the rabbit's new home." The animals said good night to one another and hurried off through the snow-muffled forest. Fletcher snuggled down in his warm, soft bed to keep watch for Santa Claus. But, curled in the cozy hollow of an oak tree, Squirrel began to snore. High in the snowy branches of a fir tree, The birds began to doze. In their toasty warm nest, the mice dreamed of berries wrapped with ribbons. And in his snug little bed, Fletcher's eyes closed. So when Santa Claus came to call, everyone was fast asleep. But the next morning, when Fletcher rushed to the rabbit's burrow, Santa Claus had found it after all. "I'm sorry I went to sleep," puffed Fletcher, "but I brought you a Christmas rose." "And we brought nuts," panted Squirrel, carrying the mice through the snow. "And we brought berries," sang the birds. "And best of all, you've brought yourselves, and there's room in the burrow for everyone," said the rabbits. "Merry Christmas!" cried the rabbits, and they welcomed their friends into the very bright warmth of their home. The main character of our story was Fletcher the Fox. And Fletcher had this problem. He was worried that Santa would not be able to find the rabbit's new burrow. Now, I have a question. What kind of character was Fletcher? Was he rude and grumpy? Was he kind and patient? Can you think of something from the story that makes you think that Fletcher was that kind of guy? Like if he was really grumpy, I would have said, "Oh, that part in the story where he yelled at his sister." But that didn't happen. What happened in the story that lets you know what kind of fox he was? I hope you enjoyed the story, Fox and the Snowflake Christmas. See you next time.